against the odds, you refer to Johnson's typology of intimate partner violence, and you wrote that he disregarded mutual abuse as a category within that typology.
Well, what Michael Johnson said in his book was that in the scientific literature he reviewed, he had found very few cases that appeared to involve mutual violent control, so he indicated that if it existed at all, that dynamic was very rare. But let me try to explain Johnson's typology on my screen. The typology includes two dimensions: the level of violence and the level of control each partner exerts over the other. Depending on where in this space the couple's interaction occurs, you may classify them in one category or the other. In the first category, situational couple violence, it is more a matter of the couple letting their conflicts escalate without the ability to resolve them in a respectful manner. In such cases, verbal violence is frequent. Both partners may be mean to each other, and there might be even some level of physical aggression, but the purpose of the violence is not to control the other partner. It is rather a matter of lacking conflict resolution skills and eventually self-control. In the second category, which Johnson called violent resistance, one partner might be violent or not, but what characterizes him or her is the control that he or she exerts over the other partner. And control is a complex mechanism. It doesn't mean that they lock the victim in the house, cutting them off from the outside world, or that they give them only small amounts of money to spend. Although this also happens, control is in general much more subtle, often produced by a more or less prolonged process of psychological warfare that ends up limiting most of the victim's movements. The victim, on the other hand, reacts like a trapped, cornered individual who may resort to violence, but without the intent of controlling their partner. Violence comes more as a reaction than having any instrumental purpose. In Johnson's third category, called intimate terrorism, one partner is extremely controlling and many times violent, while the victim is neither violent nor controlling. In intimate terrorism, what you have is a very sick type of relationship dynamic occurring between one individual who quite often presents personality traits within the antisocial spectrum, lack of empathy, emotional detachment, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and so on and so forth, and the other partner who lives in extreme fear. The victim tell you often that they step on eggshells in an attempt to not trigger their partner's anger or cold disdain. In the book, I refer to a recent study by Halldórsdóttir in which she interviewed survivors of intimate terrorism who described themselves as feeling in the jaws of death. The women described how they came to a point where they felt petrified, dispersonalized, worthless, dehumanized, and their lives threatened. They conveyed feelings of intense inner suffering which they did not express externally, but they would have, for example, terrible nightmares. Most have experienced severe physical and sexual violence against them, similar to what Hurd described. But contrary to what happened with Hurd, the interviewed women indicated how they had to receive medical care for the injuries they suffered. One said, and quote, "He raped me several times, and he stuck various things up my vagina. I was constantly getting treatment because there was just constant inflammation." End quote. Halldórsdóttir reported that most of the women could not go to work at times because of the violence. One of them had to stay 5 weeks at home because she was terribly bruised on her face, and when she returned to work, she was asked why her face was so yellow. Intimate terrorism represents the type of intimate partner violence that aligns more closely with an ideal type because it legitimizes the victim's status and evokes greater sympathy for the victim. And that was the type of case Heard chose to report. The evidence, though, discredited her. The full access to the couple's apartment that family and friends have. The video she filmed in the kitchen showing Depp enraged slamming the cabinets. The photo of Depp passed out on the couch she sent to her friends. The relationship dynamics caught on tape. The CCTV footage showing her being affectionated with another man on May 22 before she filed the restraining order. The lack of documented injuries or need for medical care, despite the doctors, nurses, and psychotherapists who cared for her around the clock. Heard buried a story that sadly is true for some women. Why did the actress do so? In Against the Odds, two possible explanations are presented and discussed.